All right. Okay, so now we are on. Let me just check on this device if we are on okay. All right, so we're gonna do another take. I actually was on here earlier, and long story short, I was talking to myself. I did check the mic, but it doesn't seem like we had the best connection. So I'm joining back so that we could do another take. This was really great information. So I want to make sure that it is received. There is going to be a recording of this, and it will be saved on the YouTube. So without further ado, if you're just joining, my name is Angela Chiwanukabuth, and I am a certified hypnotherapist, somatic therapist, and hypnobirth instructor. And today, what I would like to discuss with you are a couple of questions that come up more frequently than anything when interacting with clients. And um, so it starts off by, when will I see the results? How soon? And some individuals do get discouraged because there really is one response: it's totally up to you. And this is the same, really, irrespective of the provider that they approach. And so, working with a provider, a practitioner, or energy worker, hypnotherapist, therapist, the work solely depends on the person that is having to walk through the door. So, for example, seeing a provider and say you have an ailment that may require a prescription, that may mean you not only need to accept the prescription, it may also mean you need to change your lifestyle. Maybe there's a diet needed, or even changing the whole environment where you are. So all that is a part of it, right? And so imagine now taking the medication, right? It is going to work because you believe it's going to work. And then there's some that do take it and it doesn't do anything for them, or they need a different dose. But at the end of the day, they believe in that practitioner that is, sharing the resources or guiding them through that journey, right, to recovery. And so the first thing is having that identity of either you are, in support of what is being shared for you, or are you also taking ownership of the whole thing, right? And which identity referring to will be that of the person who needs to get better, or the person who is simply going through an experience, whatever it may be, right? It could be a gut issue. It could be, musculoskeletal or nervous system, whatever it could be, right? And so, with that, belief is a major component, because it doesn't matter whomever you're going to work with. What matters is your mindset, and whether you believe that what you're receiving is indeed going to serve to be therapeutic, to bring on the results that you are looking for. And I'm sure you've heard of those individuals who have instant relief, or individuals that are going to, you know, make decisions. And it could also be to behavior changes. Behavior changes such as individuals that stop, cold turkey. Say if they were a substance user, obviously there are certain concerns about withdrawal and so on and so forth. But if we give it to the very simplest example, individuals that may partake in cigarette smoking and they decide, I'm done with it, right? That is someone that, yes, they could have gone through therapy, they could have gone through the whole process of it, or they themselves has decided, I'm not doing that anymore. And so you're going to also notice that with that identity shift, other things happen. Their circle changes. Their circle includes the people that they interact with. It could also mean that they are no longer a part of the ritual, right? We've seen individuals who like to smoke, for example, they do it in a rotation or a certain time of the day. And if it's at work, say it's at work, they are going to have colleagues that they probably do that with, right? Or if it's happy hour, they have a group of people that they, join, right, to do that socialization. Most of that is occurring during socialization. So, what do you think is going to happen, right? If that person does decide, okay, well, I'm not doing that anymore, they could still meet with those individuals, but most likely it's not going to be during that act of the smoking, or if it was partaking in happy hour, they probably will go, but they will drink something else. They will see other options, right? So instead of ordering that alcoholic beverage, maybe they will end up, getting a light juice or soda, or even not go altogether. And that is also something, because certain individuals may take themselves away altogether because it just so happens that the group that they're in is no longer supporting that identity. So that is why it's very important to understand that, when we talk about recovering or overcoming certain illnesses, it's really a determination, it's a decision, it's a choice. And again, there are individuals that may simply need to take themselves away. So, if that is something required of you to overcome whatever it is you're going through, are you willing to do that? Or are you going to say, you know what, I don't think so. I'm going to do that instead. Right? So, yes, there are instances when being alone some can happen, because solitude uh, is not, something that is enjoyed by most people, right? And then there is pretty much understanding that it does require a change of the mindset, the characteristics. So, who do you have to be on the other side? And that's what it boils down to. Because if you're only looking at the immediate picture and not, seeing, right, what's going to happen aftermath, this is why in most centers where they're doing therapy of some sort, you are seeing they always try to bring back individuals that were there prior, to sort of instill courage and hope in the groups that are there now, to show them, hey, this is possible for you. This is someone that was, probably here or even had it worse than you. And this person is now successful. Maybe they have this, family. So pretty much they're showing you what you are going to, right? What the results are going to be. Or even in the commercials that you may see on television, in most of them, honestly, you are seeing the person going through the condition, but the emphasis is on the after fact. If it's an advertisement for stomach issues, then the person is eating whatever they want. Or if it's a skin issue, you see the person wearing a bikini, just flarking around, having fun, right? You name it. So it is the end game. What are the results, right? And the process is there as well. We cannot ignore the process. And so, yes, that is the very first item, is your belief, your energy shift, right? Identity shift. What is it that you want to or need to be in order to achieve that result that you're looking for? And so the next one is environment. Environment is a big deal, because where you're going to also understand, as I mentioned earlier, depending on the circumstance the person may have, the provider may actually prescribe that as well. This is why in most individuals that especially are overcoming alcohol or substance abuse and they have to go to rehab, there's a reason why they have to go to that specific environment, because there are less distractions. There's obviously a certain schedule. There is more control of what needs to occur. And even in all those other other shows that you may see, where say individuals are recovering from, say, overeating, or they're hoarders, not only do they need to have a whole team, they need to have a social worker, they need to have a housekeeper, they need to have you name it, they're going to have it on board, right? And yes, it doesn't all happen overnight, but most importantly, you're seeing that their whole space is cleaned up, things are being thrown out. Okay, they're times going to maybe rearrange as well, or they may be discarding of pretty much most of their possessions, right? And that's for a reason. So when it comes to your environment, you have to also remember that it does hold anchors as far as sensory stimuli. And so, similar to individuals that may be going through a breakup, that person is probably going to be throwing up, if not everything that the other person may have gotten them. Why? Because it's going to bring back memories. And so, the whole idea of breaking up is to, get rid of certain things. But some may say, you know what, I'm going to keep this for whatever reason. But anything that doesn't bring back pleasant emotions, they're going to, right, discard it. And so environment is also key. So, it goes with, for example, when we talk about nutrition, what are those items that you need to have to be on that road to wellness, right? Because there is that idea of recovery is going to happen, okay, but it also needs to be maintained. Because if you're recovering from, you know, whatever ailment it is, it has to be also maintained. So you see that plenty of times when individuals look for quick take trips to weight loss, only to regain back the same weight and even more. It's because they didn't get that taken care of, right? Their environment wasn't suitable, their mindset, the discipline that it requires. And so that may mean, again, watching whatever it is in your home, in your space, your pantry, your refrigerator, whatever it is, where you're shopping, right? There's that as well. And it's not more so on getting rid of what you have. Obviously, if it's expired, you throw it out. But there could be a balance there whereby you could actually maybe get rid of most things. You can add more various items. So for individuals that, for example, like to eat a lot of canned food in itself is convenient, right? It serves a purpose. But if that's all you're eating most of the time, well, then you need to change it. So more fresh fruits would be on board, more vegetables, and things that you may need to also be aware that may take planning to prepare. And that could mean having a meal planning whereby you really know, okay, on certain days of the week, this is what I'm going to be eating, and you actually plan ahead. That takes discipline. And you know there are individuals that have a crazy work schedule. Okay, there's that, we can't deny that. And certain responsibilities. So is it that also whatever is occurring, there has to be involvement of other individuals in the home? For example, if you are a parent, when it comes to the meal planning, you may want to involve others in the home. There is a lot of emphasis on balanced nutrition, and it does get challenging when someone is following a particular diet and the other individuals in the home are technically not, or they're eating other things. So there is going to be a need for discipline in that, right? Or the portions themselves, right? It could be that when we talk about environment, the utensils or the plates or the dishes, that the portions need to be also modified. So it's being aware of that. And so yeah, it's not always about throwing out everything that you have unless you really need to, right? But it's also looking at how flexible your palate is, or what are the other foods that you have tried, or is it that, right, you've eaten certain things and that's all there is for you? So then we could just add a little bit of flavor, maybe add some more vegetables to it, or a little bit more fruits in there, so that you can have some um, changes there in your nutrition. Because yes, nutrition is always big on any journey for healing, including movement, gentle movement, exercise. That is always an add-on, and it could be for even emotional or mental. It's not just physical ailments, right? So yes, you may hear someone saying, well, this person has irritable bowel syndrome, and when they eat spicy food, they're gonna have the runs, and so it's like, well, they can't have this and they can't have that. Okay, and so at the end of the day, them understanding that is one thing. They are accepting that as their condition. But what are they doing about it? Is it that they are taking care of the inflammation? And so that's where it is. So identifying the issue at the root cause is the best thing to do, right? Just 1 second. Let me see what's going on. 1 second. All right, there we go. Okay, gotta work around the little ones, right? Okay, so let's see, where was I? Yeah, so when we talk about the food and the nutrition, it's very, very important to also understand there is such a thing as emotional eating. And when we talk about emotional eating, that is actually the next item that I want to talk about, which is emotions. What are the emotions that are being processed or that are being brought on board? So far, if you are just joining, my name is Angela Joanna Booth, and today we're just going over the fact that healing can be instant. Okay, and healing can be instant if you make it so. And so when clients ask me, how soon can I see the results? How many sessions will it take? You know, that sort of thing. And let me just quickly see here if anyone put anything there. Okay. All right, then. I thought I saw something. So, yeah, when we talk about the mindset, we talk about the identity. Who are you choosing to be? There are individuals, just to backtrack a little bit, that may say, for example, uh, say they're going through, what I would say typical adults may face, which is cholesterol. That is really a major element. And so with cholesterol, what ends up happening, well, their provider may say, well, it's diet, it's exercise, low fat, saturated fats are a big no-no. And here you have this person who loves their crab legs, they love their bacon, right? They love their food. And yeah, they're gonna go on whatever medication is prescribed. So what ends up happening, there are two things that could happen. One, they're going to just take the medication as prescribed, and they probably will not make time to do anything else. Maybe they'll try the exercise for like a few weeks, and then that's that. Then they'll just take their medication. They may not care much about the food because they're going to take the pill and they'll take care of it, right? So I mean, you guys, I've seen this firsthand. So then you have other individuals that may say, you know what, this is serious. I'm doing this. I'm taking the walk. I'm going to take the medication as is. My goal is to eventually take a less dose or be weaned off it altogether. And so they're those are two individuals, right? So they both have the same condition, but their mindset is different. And so it's how determined you are. And this is why we go back to belief, right? Because that provider is a resource. They are doing the best they can. They obviously have multiple individuals to work with. I mean, when I work with my clients, I always make sure that it's just the right amount. And this is what I enjoy about what I do, because when I take on the clients, I definitely make sure that they understand the journey, the process, because the results are there. They are literally like on the other side of the coin. They have to do the work, and the work could mean, what is it that you are believing in? Belief really carries a great detail and influence in the outcome of your healing. What about your movement and the intake, right? So all those things are discussed. And when we talk about the environment, again, as I was saying earlier, there are anchors of sensory stimuli, right? So when you have certain pictures that are just going to trigger your wounds, your emotional wounds, and make you feel away, that's why we were saying earlier, certain things like that may need to go, right? And so there's another layer, letting go. Okay, letting go is a big part of this whole thing because individuals that are going through whatever it is they're going through, it's for a reason. But when they're ready to process that mess, whatever it is, right, it works very well, whereby they are not in their own way, if that makes sense. Because you may see a whole lot of practitioners. You may see a shaman, you may see energy worker, read a whole ton of self-help books. But if you lack the mindset and the discipline it does require for you to be that new identity that you're seeking, right? Then you're going to find yourself in that same place because you're not going to have long-term results. And that's what we need to have that quality of life. And that is where there is that delay part, right? Which is that there are intentional delays if you think about it, and that's okay, right? Remember the first example when I say there are individuals where they're both, on the cholesterol medication, and the other one is like, well, I'm gonna do this, and the other's like, well, I just have my medication, but keep eating what I want, right? And so it's where the person is in their life's journey. Everyone has free will to be sick, free will to be well, okay, and it's up to them. And one of the areas is important to understand, why are they going through what they are, you know going through right now. So another thing that I touched earlier, which I didn't complete, and I'll go back to it, is emotions. Emotions are messages, and they're highly ignored, and they shouldn't be, because when feelings are there, they're to be felt. So what ends up happening most of the time is that individuals numb themselves. They don't want to feel whatever it is that is coming up. And so emotions carry a big deal of messages. Some emotions we may talk about that are most common is anger, there is resentment, there is guilt, we have shame, we have, I think I already said resentment. I'm talking about the low ones, right? We have shame, we have worrying. Anyway, yeah, you can fill in the rest. So, when you talk about emotions being processed, are they being processed? Are they actually coming to the surface, right? I saw a client, well, it was a family actually. They had a young lady daughter who they were worried about. She had gone through sleep studies. She has been, just getting through works to see what's going on with her. I mean, she's pretty young to be with sleep apnea, and that's another thing. Certain conditions we know come to be by certain ages, right? You're not gonna expect a 20-year-old to have dementia or Alzheimer's. I mean, yes, there is such a thing as amnesia, right? Depending whatever it is they may have endured for whatever reason, right? Maybe traumatic brain injury or some sort. But when it comes to individuals that young, sleep apnea is like, oh my gosh, so young to have sleep apnea. So in working with that young lady, one of the things that was uncovered is that she actually was not standing up for herself. She was not speaking her truth. She wasn't speaking up, right? So as you can see, I'm trying to clear my throat as well. Excuse me. Right. So, what ended up happening is we actually had just a few sessions. And one of the beautiful thing is working with young people is the quickest and the best. Why? Because they don't really hang on to identities. They don't really have that rigidity of, this is it, this is me, I have this and I have that. They are flexible, right? So they could pivot when it comes to that. So, after seeing her, obviously certain things had to be taken care of at school. She was being bullied at school. She had to talk through that, and she didn't feel like she could talk through and, be understood. But after a couple of somatic sessions, we were able to get her to, pretty much get better. And of course, sleep apnea and snoring was a thing of the past. So far, what we're talking about is overcoming whatever it is you need to overcome. It could be physical, it could be emotional, it could be mental. And so when we come to emotions, okay, they're not to be ignored. So for a young lady like that, she was experiencing shame. She wasn't saying much. She was holding back. You know, when they say bite your tongue or swallow your words or whatever, that's actually in the literal sense. And emotions carry an energy signature, because what ends up happening is that in that energy signature, one of the things I want to reiterate, because I did say this in a previous live that I did, emotions as energy, everything happens energy first. So even the conditions that we're dealing with, when say someone has diabetes or high blood pressure, it is occurring on the energetic level, and then it sips into the mental, emotional, okay, and then it comes into the physical. So by the time that aneurysm sets in, by the time the heart attack, the enlarged arteries, all of that sets in, things have been going on for a long time. Okay, going on for a long time. Individuals like, I mean, for example, let me give you one example here. Have you ever noticed, right? And this happened to me too. So no shame in that. But there are times when we wanna take care of certain conversations or certain things, and you may not say whatever it is you needed to tell that person for whatever reason. Maybe it wasn't the right time, or things were just off, and all of a sudden you end up with neck pain. Okay, right in here. Okay, that just radiates, because guess what? Right? There is an energy signature again that stayed with you. And so you're the one that is holding on to it. Now, when you say whatever it is you need to say, that energy is also expelled. And this is how actually frequencies work, right? So when you say whatever it is you need to say, that energy in itself is also dispelled, it also comes out. So in that, neck pain, anything really relating to this whole area does deal with obstruction, and obstruction could be on an energetic level. It doesn't always have to be physically. Okay, so those emotions. Talk about resentment. There are individuals in relationships that are holding on to so much resentment, and it's because, well, this person did this to me, and then they did that to me, and it's like they're taking on this persona of things being done to them, or as a victim. And so what ends up happening is they walk around with that, right? So even when we have situations where individuals are, say, in a relationship and a relationship ends, right? So let's talk about that. You have a new relationship, fine, but then that relationship doesn't really go well, because guess what? It may be the same situation, it's a different person, but it's actually the same thing. And you're like, why do I keep attracting people like this? Or why do I keep bringing on people that have this behavior? Well, guess what? It's because of that energy signature. When when individuals have to gather themselves through certain growth, developmental stages, emotions come along with it. Why? Because they actually show you as a roadmap. It's more of a feedback, really, of how you're doing. And so let's take grief. Okay. Grief occurs from loss. It could be loss from a marriage, loss from bad grades, loss from, a job, you name it. But realistically, say we're talking about loss of a relationship. Okay. That grief, that sadness really stays with you. And then last times it's also coming with anger. Okay. The anger is a motivator actually to power through and do whatever it is we have to do. But if the main frequency is grief, it's really gonna just stagnate, right? So there's not much that's gonna happen there. That's why you hear certain people say, well, they're gonna be successful. That's how they're gonna get back to whomever it is that may have hurt them, or they're going to turn that anger, whatever it was, into a positive force, right? A fundraiser or something. They just reuse that energy, right? It is transformational. So when it comes to energy, it needs to be processed. Feelings needs to be felt and not numbed out, because that in itself just festers and it sits there and it becomes your main frequency, whereby you are continuing to have the same experiences. Okay, so with that, I have, so let me just make sure I covered everything. Let's see. Okay, there's one more thing. Healing should not be seen as something that needs to be happening over and over and over, because I've seen individuals that as well are saying, well, okay, I mean, I saw this person. It's like they continuously are having what they consider to be overcoming, right? They're always overcoming and healing from something. They worked with this practitioner and that practitioner, and it's like, well, hello, right? You're not broken. You may have gone through something, but once you understand what it was, you don't always have to keep going to people to fix you. You're not broken. Your body, your being is just as wonderful and divine to take care of yourself, as long as it's allowed. And so that's where it is. If you do not allow the healing to occur, if you do not allow the process to occur, you cannot keep looking at the results, the destination, and not going through the process. You need to go through the process. And again, that may mean identity shifts, it may mean lifestyle changes, whatever that may mean for you. But as we said earlier, also environmental changes. And again, if you're just joining, my name is Angela Chiwanuka Booth, and I am a certified hypnotherapist, certified hypnobirth instructor, and somatic therapist. And today we are discussing healing can be instant. So, overall, in thinking about all of this, one or two ways that we can overcome and transmute as well, which I already brought up before, is letting go. Letting go, surrendering has a very, very powerful force. Same thing, well, it doesn't come easy, right? Let's face it, because I've been in situations where when I work with clients and they have so much rage and anger to a past partner, and there are conversations occurring with, say, child custody and child support, and it's like, if I forgive them, they're going to have the upper hand, or if I don't do this, they're going to think of me in this light. But what they're failing to see is how much hold that has on their health and their well-being and quality of life. And so letting go and surrendering are actually very wonderful ways to also transmute towards recovery for whatever reason, even addictions. Okay. And the last one is forgiveness. Forgiveness. And it starts with yourself, because in life, we have individuals that come, we cross paths with, but they're really there to teach us certain things in life. It just so happens, like I mentioned earlier, if your lessons aren't learned, they're going to keep reoccurring. And the more they reoccur, the harder things get, right? And so that's pretty much what it boils down to. Excuse me. Healing can be instant if you choose it to be, if you believe it to be. Okay. And earlier I spoke about practitioners. I also want to mention it's very, very important that when you are working with a practitioner, that they also respect your ability to recover, and they do not pay more belief and energy and attention to the disorder itself, because then that takes more importance and more present, right? um, right, so for example, if you are, say, dealing with someone who has um, cancer, so to speak, it's like they're just so fascinated with the development of the cancer and everything else, and not so much about how fascinating your body is, how fascinating your body can be to beat this. I mean, you hear of cancer survivors, right? And the minute you start doubting that, is that me? Could that be for me? You don't want that. You want someone you're going to work with that knows, yes, with certainty what is possible, what your body can do. Okay, because our bodies are so capable of so much miracles and so much. We, however, get in our own way with our healing when we, take it upon to say, this identity or that disorder has this over me. Nothing has anything over you. Once you decide that you're ready to overcome whatever it is you need to overcome, it can happen instantly within a click of a finger, right? And that's why there are times when I see clients, they're saying, I've gone through the sessions, I've done this, and it's like, okay, so what were you expecting in a sense? When we talk about these things, and they are surprised sometimes when I add prayers, because you have to remember our minds are very strong. And what ends up happening sometimes when we work through certain things, doubt sets in, confusion sets in, especially when we live in an age of information where things are at the tip of a finger, but it's just so much information to the point where you don't even know. What to take or what not to take. It's like you're constantly bombarded with information here and there. And so, yes, one of the things that I actually do work with my clients on is prayer, the power of prayer, and that it really does work. Because before you are, looking for that perfection, that relief, you have to believe it so, and you have to make it so. This is why it goes back to the belief. Okay. And so, with that, I'm going to go ahead and do a gentle meditation with you today, which is actually maybe a good thing that the earlier recording didn't work out so well. So, we totally missed that. So, I'm going to go ahead and add on a quick meditation for you. Go ahead and get yourself into a comfortable posture. And by the way, on typical Mondays, we do meditation sessions. It's only for about 10 minutes. So anyone who is ever interested in joining, you're welcome to go ahead and sign up, and we'll send you it's a Zoom link, and it's Mondays at 12:30. And yeah, there's definitely a ton of more information that I'd like to share with you. So uh, but definitely for the remainder of our time, let me go ahead and share this gentle meditation with you. So go ahead and close your eyes wherever you are, if you are able to. Obviously, if you're just listening in, if you're driving and you're not able to do that, that's fine. You could just stay aware. And I am going to save this on LinkedIn, so I'll be sharing with you once it's ready. Okay. All right. Let me just move some things around as well. And I'm going to ask you to, again, be aware of your surroundings. And if you're able to join, I do invite you to go ahead and get yourself in a comfortable posture. It will be delightful if you allow yourself the relaxation that's needed in order for you to change things in your life that you desire. And complete relaxation is impossible when you hold grudges. Sometimes it's hard to even imagine forgiving those who have wronged us, but it is necessary in the progression of personal growth and recovering from any ailments that we have. So let's begin by saying, I am ready to take the steps necessary towards the best version of myself. It may seem daunting to forgive people and instances of your past that hurt you, but it's actually very easy. And you can do this whether this person that hurt you passed on or they are still alive. Now, I want you to use your imagination. I want you to imagine a young child holding a glass of milk. Their small hands couldn't quite grasp the cup fully, and the milk spills on the floor, and the cup breaks. This upsets you because, as you know, milk is expensive, especially organic milk. And that cup was a family heirloom, so it means so much more to you. Now, say that this upsets you very much, and you show your anger and you hold a small grudge against this child for breaking that cup. Now, when you give the child a glass of milk or a cup of milk, whatever it is, will you trust him or her to hold it? Or will you do it but with anxiety, as it also becomes present in that child because they do not feel trusted? And anxiety will also build in you because you fear more things will be broken or spilled. Then the child may actually become more likely to drop things because you see you are manifesting them. You will also be harboring anxiety because you were unable to let go of their incident, even though it happened months back, or weeks back, or days. And it will be recurring, though each time they may need to use the cup, right? They may also be anticipating it. Now, I want you to imagine again, use your imagination. That same child holding a glass of milk this time, their small hands quiver and they drop the glass, breaking it and spilling the milk everywhere. But this time, instead, you are not upset in the slightest and you forgive them right away. The child runs to grab a broom and a towel and helps to clean up the mess. They are helping you to fix the mishap. They sense in you kindness and they learn how to take action when something goes wrong. They learn to stay calm when they feel guilty for the circumstance. Their ability to help is halted. For you see, the child is then likely to understand how to address incoming issues because everyone was calm, relaxed, and in a state of pre forgiveness. They feel trusted and they can trust you to help when mistakes happen. That's what we need to accomplish in order to create a more peaceful world for everyone. The ability to forgive each other, to allow for a state of openness so that we can address issues that arise with calm and relaxed outlook. Now, let's do some relaxation techniques that will open us in a state of forgiveness. I want you to go ahead and take notice of your body right now. What sensations are you feeling right now? Noticing any places that feel unpleasant or tense. It could be small as the tip of your nose or even larger. Just go ahead and feel it, whatever it is. Just feel these sensations of goodness and feelings of relaxation and allowing that relaxation to spread. Just observe how your body reacts when you allow pleasant feelings to communicate with the stuck ones. Do the nice sensations hold a grudge against the areas of the not so nice sensations? They simply hold space and communicate with openness how to let go. Allow for more pleasant feeling to enter into your body now through the power of your breath. Breathe in easily and consciously, knowing that with each inhale you oxygenate your system and send goodness and love to your whole entire being, your whole body. Inhale deeply and feel the good, and exhale, feeling even more relaxed. You are a natural at communicating with areas of tension. Thus, changing this very structure and frequency and converting them into relaxed state isn't as difficult. You're doing so well. Continuing with our newfound relaxation, let's continue with our newfound relaxed state to a place of forgiveness. This is a very important opportunity. It will help in progressing towards personal achievements of all aspects in your life. Now, visualize you are in a beautiful garden on a mild day with fluffy clouds rolling by in the sky, and the sun is periodically warming your skin and nourishing the plants in this garden. And as you admire the beauty there, the way the leaves of the vegetations are caressed by the breeze, there are so many colors of flowers throughout the garden, and their fragrance is sweet and welcoming. So go down this way. You feel very relaxed, very pleasant. You look down to see a small footpath through some flowering shrubs, and it's an inviting and mysterious path. And as you curve around the beauty of this garden, you inhale the fresh oxygen that these plants produce. And as you round the corner, a small bench made of wood comes into view. And you see the person you most need to forgive is sitting right there. They have been waiting for you because this is a very important encounter. You sit down beside them because this place is very safe, and there are some things that need to be said to this person. With bravery and courage, look them directly into their eyes, and I want you to say, "You hurt me, and I have suffered for too long because of this burden I carry in the form of a grudge towards you. I forgive you. I forgive you not to help you, but to better myself. I forgive you, and you will not enter my thoughts any longer. I forgive you because forgiveness leads to openness in all aspects of my life. You notice the darkness that was once in their eyes begins to lighten, and for a while, they do not say a word. They are simply silent. Go ahead and add anything else you like to tell them. And if you feel angry or you need to cry, let it be so. You are safe to express yourself. If you need to yell, you need to scream, that is all right. You're doing great. Then the silence is broken. You've said everything you need to say. They simply will say to you, I will leave you alone now, and you will not be tormented by the thought of me anymore. Never once did they turn and look back your way. Very good. They get up. They get up from the beautiful wooden bench and walk into the depth of a nearby wooded forest. You watch as their figure grows smaller and smaller into the distance. You will no longer see them. This was a very important meeting today in this beautiful garden. And as you breathe in new fresh air, you feel twice as light as you did before. That's because a huge weight has been lifted. A huge weight has been lifted now that the person you needed to forgive is no longer sitting within your secret garden. They have moved on, and so have you. You allowed that to happen. Now, when you rise from this beautiful bench, you are going to feel wonderful and confident, ready to take on the day. I'm going to go ahead and give you a few more minutes to enjoy the beautiful garden, taking in all the scenery and watching the beautiful creatures and the birds. Beautiful. What a beautiful garden. When you rise from this meditation at your own pace, you will notice you are eager and ready to take the steps needed towards your personal achievement or personal goals, whatever it may be for you. And that will conclude our meditation. Thank you. Bye bye for now.